We're still at the question, has God rejected his people? Paul's answer, impossible. And then he gives 3 reasons that God did not reject his people. I'm an Israelite, he says, and 7,000 are faithful, a proof from Scripture. And we reminded ourselves that God is acting by grace alone. It's a very important point here, and I try to show you that we are touching a very intimate sphere. It's very dangerous to get into that. We can destroy a lot by thinking about it even, and even more by talking about it. When we touch this sphere of intimacy between God and his people, Israel. Let's go back to Romans 11. What then? What Israel was seeking, it failed to obtain. The elect, however, obtained it. But the rest were hardened. Now, I'd really like you to compare that with your translations, because we are here at a point. I looked at the both prominent Israeli translations, the modern translation into Hebrew and the Delitzsch translation, and both translated the wrong way. They do not say that the rest were hardened, but they translated that the rest hardened themselves. But the Greek text very clearly says they were hardened, not they hardened themselves, or they didn't want to hear. The rest were hardened, and then it goes on in verse 8, as it is written, the one true and only God has given them a spirit of deep sleep. I understand why the Hebrew translations, who had in focus the Jewish people and wanted them to turn to Jesus, say they were hardened, because they hardened themselves, because then it is up to them to unharden themselves. But if you want to understand Paul's argument here, he doesn't talk about the people of Israel doing something or not doing something. He talks about the only one true sovereign God that, and it says here black and white, referring to the prophet Isaiah in chapter 29, he has given them a spirit of deep sleep. They were hardened. If we overlook that, we misunderstand the whole text. In verse 6, Paul had emphasized once again what is happening here is the grace of God. In verse 8, he emphasizes even once more boldly that God has given them a spirit of slumber. It is he, the one true living God, the God who created the whole universe, the God who revealed himself to the fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Israel. He is the one who acts here. He is the one who directs history, the history of this world. And we should not mix that up. I feel that over and over again when I talk to people about Israel, about their possessing the land or not having the land, about politics in Israel, people say, yes, but look at Tel Aviv. It's closer to Sodom and Gomorrah than to the heavenly Jerusalem. They are right. We have seen it in the past that God emphasizes it. I have not rejected for what they have done. They have done something. And if we look with natural eyes at them, there is no way but to come to the conclusion that God has to reject them. The events around Israel, also today's Israel, is all about we have to focus on what God is doing and unfocus ourselves on what humans are doing. And here we see it in this text. And actually, you see our tendency. I did not bring these Hebrew translations up to your attention to blame them of something. I see their good intention and I share their intention. But they did not translate the text as it is written. It says here, they were hardened. God gave a deep spirit, a spirit of deep sleep. God is the one who acts, not the people of Israel.